I've always been a very relaxed, calm person. I know what I have to do on track. It doesn't matter at the end of the day where we'll end up. So far, you are having a great battle. Sit back, relax, and do your thing on track.
Max, I think a lot of people were expecting 2021 to be like a carryover from 2020. At what point did you realize that 2021 wasn't just going to be 2020 part 2?
Bahrain. I think our pre-season testing was already pretty decent. Of course, then it can be track dependent or whatever, but I think so far on every track we have been very competitive. So a lot better than the years before. So just looking a lot better.
We always talk about momentum. You won on Mercedes sort of home turf almost in Abu Dhabi at the end of last year. How much did that win kind of set the team up for a good positive winter?
It was a bit surprising, of course, to be that competitive around there, but of course we already had our ideas for the year after. But then, of course, you never know what the competition is going to do. But of course, now we are here, and I think the team definitely learned from what was not going so well last year and improved the car basically. And then, of course, from Honda's side, I think we had some really nice improvements as well in the engine. And when you bring those two things together. It's been pretty good so far.
The team's always said it needed to hit the ground running at the start of a season, not have to play catch-up. The fact that from that very first race, you knew you had a car to compete, how much does that change the overall mindset, not just of you, but the whole team going into a season?
It's a big boost, of course, when immediately you are competitive. But even last year, when we didn't have an opportunity to win or whatever, we would still get the best out of the opportunities we had. So now, of course, when you are fighting for a championship, every little detail matters. You need to score points every single weekend, or at least try to. Sometimes it's out of your hands with things that happen, but I think so far we've done a pretty good job. But of course, it's never good enough, so we just have to keep on pushing and trying to be even better.
I don't think it's unfair to say this is the first season where you've properly been in the championship hunt, you've properly had a chance. Does it feel different knowing that you've got that capability, that chance?
To be honest, it feels good, but I also know that it's still a very long season, and of course it's nice to be ahead in points. I think what is most important is that so far on every track we have had quite a competitive car, so I hope that we can just keep this momentum going. But personally, I'm pretty relaxed anyway, so just happy that I have a good car.
I imagine you'd say you've always been ready for it, but do you feel that this is the right time, the right moment to be in this challenge?
It's always difficult to say, this is the right time. I felt like last year I was ready for it as well. I think when you have a really good car, you don't have an option to be ready or not, because normally when you have such a good car, automatically you are in the top 3 positions, and then you're automatically fighting for championships. And then I think it's all about just being consistent and not make mistakes. So that's what we, of course, try to do now. I feel ready, the team is ready, the team has done it in the past, so I think we know what we have to do, but it's also about what you bring to the car now to try and make it faster.
It's always difficult to kind of look in the mirror and look at yourself and judge yourself, but how do you think you're different, if you do, this year as opposed to seasons gone by?
More experience, to be honest. Not only on track, but also off track, things you experience. But I've always been a very relaxed, calm person, I think, off track. There's not much which can disturb me, in life. So I know what I have to do on track, which I think makes your life a lot easier. There are not a lot of doubts. And you can only do your best, right? And I'll try to, of course, do that all the time. And for me, that approach works really well.
Do you think you have any weaknesses?
Even if you would always try to smoothen things out. I mean, you're not perfect at anything, but nobody is. But I think it's good enough compared to the others.
It's the first time that you've had a properly close fight with Lewis. What have you learned in these 7 races so far about him, the way he drives, that you didn't know before?
There's not much which is a surprise to me this year compared to the years before. Of course, you study your rivals, but I also always, look back at myself, because, when you look at others, they of course have good qualities. But for me, I'm not a guy who copies. I'm of course always listening and looking, but at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself, what you can improve and what you can do better. But when you copy, you can only be as good at it. So for me, that doesn't really work.
So not in terms of copying then, but in terms of like when you come into a wheel-to-wheel scenario, do each drivers have their own individual ways of driving? Are there things that they will always do every time?
No,
and you know
I
that
mean,
now from
every
Lewis.
driver is different in their wheel-to-wheel battles. You know that. I mean, I learned that over the years. And I think Lewis has always been a very fair, good racer, which I appreciate a lot. I mean, I love racing myself. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I think it's good for the fans as well. Doesn't matter at the end of the day where we'll end up, if it's first or second, which way around. But so far, we're having a great battle.
And talk to me about Checo. What kind of an impact has he had to this team, his arrival here, the overall competitiveness that you're able to bring as a two-pronged attack?
Yeah, Checo's been great, to be honest. Great to work with as well. He's a great person outside of the car as well as inside. And he's a real team player. He really thinks about the big picture, and that's really nice because clearly, of course, initially you have to get used to the car, and I think he's starting to really get on top of that. And it's great to have two cars now, trying to make it difficult for Mercedes. So yeah, of course, very happy to have him as a teammate, but also we can have a lot of fun together, which I think is also important.
And it seems like with Alex behind the scenes as well, who's been helping Checo get accustomed to the car, but also doing loads of work on the sim, you've got this incredible sort of triangle of drivers all helping push the team in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone within the team knows what they have to push for and where they have to help out. And Alex, anyways, a great person, a great driver, and at the moment he's great support for us in the simulator.
We're 1/3 of the way through the season, that's all. Have we seen the best of Max Verstappen yet? How much more is there to come?
Hopefully you will see that when I'm early 30s. Yeah.
So there's a way to go yet?
I hope so. I mean, I'm only 23, so I naturally expect myself to only be better in the coming years. But there's also no rush to that. I mean, it's fine. These things happen naturally. You cannot force things anyway. And I'm happy, of course, with how everything is going so far. But it's just, I don't think you suddenly gain speed or whatever. It's just through experience with the car, just, general understandings. They just become better and better all the time.
That's fascinating to have that awareness that you're not at your peak, that there is still so much time to come, but that you can't rush it. You can't rush what you do.
That's how I am. I mean, I'm also not really too bothered about it. I love what I do. I know what I have to do in the car. So, you can't force to improve or whatever. It just comes naturally.
So what's going to be the key this year to taking the advantage that you have and pressing it home for the championship?
Sit back and relax and do your thing on track.
Love that.